Chapter 22, Cuauhtemoc. Wanyenyekevu Khaled for Jome and Obeto Kometo his tent, discussing the situation thoroughly. What can you guys tell me about Atiti Khaled Cuauhtemoc? Wanyenyekevu asked. Jome, shaking his head, not much other than he heard of it. Obe agreed by saying, Same here, but he heard of a lot of activities done that way as well, but never been there. Wanyenyekevu stood there looking at the Titis map, check around the entire camp and say what people know of this plate, and get with me in the morning, during Umkumbi, with the rest of the warriors. Jome and Obe said, will do. Wanyenyekevu stood there looking at a map, trying to figure out where his people were there, of all places. Early, during Umkumbi, his Nine top council, Raphael's son, Jaime, and an additional 8 warriors, Maliha, Abba, Avani, Shana, Tiago, Hannah, Kenji, and Nuno that, whom Jome found out, that they had been there at last once. They all sat down to say what they could find out about the city of Cuauhtemoc. Shana said as a prostitute myself, Avani, Abba, and Malia were sent there from time to satisfyment there. But as far as what goes on in those parts, we do not know. The men never spoke to any of us about their work there. Actually, they never asked us anything, they usually just gave us commands. Nervously and afraid, Avani walked forward and fell to her knees, crying. I have been selling my body since I was 12 years old, and I. So overwhelmed she could not speak. Wanyenyekevu stood up and approached her, hugged her, took her hands and looked her in the eyes. My dear sweet sister, know this, Sabaoth is not ashamed of what you were, neither should you, for it was not your own free will, but they forced it upon you. He is proud of who you are now. Remember this, the evil one prevents us from moving forward in our lives because of our past. You are the most precious thing in Sabaoth's sight, a woman, a deliverer of life. Without woman, there cannot be men. Go and live your life without shame and touch others, or have been through the same thing that they too can live a life with Sabaoth. If you desire to be married, tell that man your past, what Sabaoth rescued you from. If he accepts it, marry that man. If he cannot, dust the dust from your choice and continue, for he too still has problems of his own. He who loves Sabaoth will forgive you as Sabaoth forgave him. Give that man your all, and you will never be ashamed again. For even Sabaoth says there is no large sin, no small sin. Sin is sin. Wanyenyekevu hugged all the women as they all began to cry and walked out of the tent. Returning to his seat, everyone in the tent was crying. Wanyenyekevu, wiping tears from his eyes, ok, stop it you four. Trying to keep his composure, is there anything you can tell us about this titi? Tiago, Hannah, Kenji, and Nuno stood there for a moment, and Nuno came forward. All of us except for Kenji work in the incinerator. He worked in another city, just south of there for 2 years. On a day a friend of mine named Telso accidentally got stuck by some kind of needle. When it was told to the supervisor, he was never seen again. He asked about his whereabouts and was sent here the same day. Wanyenyekevu asked, what was it you were putting in the incinerator? Nuno looked back at the men, questioning, cause he never really seen the inside of the bags. Biohazard waste and dead bodies. Wanyenyekevu started thinking for a bit, then told the men, you three may go, then he said, and you, Kenji. Kenji approached the council. 4 years, me and my family worked as slaves, my grandparents, my parents, and even my brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest of them all and I'm the only one living to die. At 9 years old, when he started. I'm 30 years old, as of yesterday, everyone said, happy, belated birthday, holding back the tears. Kenji continued, thank you, as a youth, he learned not to ask questions, especially anything about what the Albanians were or was doing. He held his head down and rubbed his fingers across his eyes as he raised his head. Kenji then sighed in anguish, they murdered me entire family rigged in front of me because my grandfather refused to work anymore. It wasn't until they sent me here 3 years ago that he started to map out a plan on how he was going to kill Abeni Bondoasita. But that day you killed him, whatever it was, I had said to myself, he would never leave your side. Raphael's son, Jaime, shouted, what? Abeni Bondoasita is dead. He stood there in shock for a moment. Abeni Bondoasita is who we were waiting for. He stayed on over the operations in Laguna de Bustillos. A virtuous and cold-hearted Albanian that he have ever seen, and you mean to tell me, you killed him? Wanyenyekevu pointed at his counsel, we killed it. Jaime got on his knees, I am forever in your debt, for I am sure me and my family would have been dead today if you hadn't killed him. Wanyenyekevu said, Jaime scratched his head, and Wanyenyekevu said, you will learn what it is in due time. Wanyenyekevu stood up, approached Kenji and Jaime, and hugged them, saying, and that's exactly what you two shall be, but even more, you shall be a friend and a dear friend at that. For you will be with me without being with me, mi double osaba, mi equalizers, if you will. Wanyenyekevu looked at Kenji and asked, what is your gift with which about has blessed you? Kenji said, self-healing. Wanyenyekevu turned to Jaime, we'll have to wait for your gift and enlightenment, but according to the logs and the people, there was supposed to be a shipment of new slaves a few months ago. No one showed up. No sign of another ship, even coming to this location, which makes me feel as if he was doing something behind the rest of their backs. Jaime interrupted, Abeni Bondoasita operation at Laguna de Bustillos is continuous, whether or not he comes. Because of the heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and marijuana merger that he, Alpa Quebec Moja, and Oedipus have together. Wanyenyekevu said, there goes to names again, ak ondoa moja and Oedipus, uhi am I not surprised. Octen, Wanyenyekevu said. After the surveillance of Cuauhtemoc and until you two get trained. He took a deep breath. As a matter of fact, Obe and myself will train you two. I need to send you both to El Paso. I need to know if they were running a renegade outfit, or were they trying to fulfill some kind of mission. Tell no. One and report no one, but one of us, here in this room. Wanyenyekevu then said, Kenji, please continue. Kenji continued, well, as a child, my job was cleaning up, and in my teenage years, I worked the incinerator, and by 20, I was withdrawing blood from new slaves as they looked for the oldest mutated strain to learn how to eradicate it. They were looking for ways to erase your rate by using biological warfare that would only destroy your people's strain. But there are at least 3 more levels that go down in that plate. I do not know what they are doing on those levels. Jaime interrupted, researching and testing synthetic drugs. Kenji kneels and starts drawing on the floor as he continues. It's built much like a box or rectangle about 30 yards, by 130 yards. This is inside the lake called Laguna de Bustillos. You have a small 2-story building here, and there is a communication tower and another tower on the east side that controls the large doors that open up when the ship arrives. The ship rotates at 0 to 180 degrees back to 0, then it does a 360 degree turn, but when it unloads, it sits hovering over the lake, and it does a 260 degree turns and a liegt beam emptieste bodies. They are alive, you can see them moving, but they are rapid in some kind of gale. Wanyenyekevu stood there listening, then suddenly started off into spate and stood up. Kenji, yo, Jaime, and Obe discussed the matter in detail. I have something heavy on my heart. Our training will start first thing in the morning. Wanyenyekevu reached for the intercom, and with great pain, shouted Imikumbi. The entire camp came running. He walked outside and stood on top of one of the small buildings, speaking into the microphone. Forgive me. I have forgotten your pain, my fellow warriors, and you are not just warriors, you are my brothers and sisters. If you know that your loved ones are alive or think that they are alive, please go and find them. If you find Pate and want to stay, by all means, stay and tell us about goodness, but know this, you are all welcomed back with open arms. But to say that return with you must serve about to stay. Here. Many of the people started talking amongst themselves. Wanyenyekevu continued, how many of you would like to go say, if your family is still living? 47 had raised their hands. Go no, but I'm afraid you must go afoot because we do not have enough resources for each man to have a horse. But go and find out, and if they return with you, so be it. If they do not and you want to stay, you shall stay. But if you return, please return with seeds, livestock, and things that will help us grow. Go in groups and stay in groups until it's time to part ways. Wanyenyekevu jumped off the building and returned to his tent for the rest of the day. Early the following day, after training with Kenji and Jaime, a group of 8 people headed west. Followed by a group of 12 headed north. Be known, a party of 13 headed east before the last group prepared to head south. Wanyenyekevu stopped them. Aldib and his wife Joy, along with 7 more, shall accompany you to say about the city of Cuauhtemoc. With strict orders, he told Aldib, Joy, and their crew, stay in the shadows and watch and observe. However, everyone must carry their communication devices, but no communication between you, except in an emergency. Return within a week or 2 with a report. You need at least one speedster. Acele raised her hand, ok, because if one of those spaceships arrives, I want to be there. As they all left, there stood Wanyenyekevu with Jome and Neriglisar. Neriglisar sighed. Ok, everyone has at least a week's worth of ration. That leaves us with 45 men and women and about 2 weeks' worth of food for us, but we got the lake filled with fish. Sabaut is able. Wanyenyekevu smiled, Sabaut is able. Listening to Neriglisar speak, Wanyenyekevu said, Hold on, don't you have something for me? Neriglisar smiled, as a matter of fact, I do. Clearing his throat, Neriglisar smiled. I first came across, in the Song of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5, as he opened the Torah, and it says, I am black but lovely, o daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Do not stare at me because I am black, for the sun has burned me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me take care of the vineyards, but I have not taken care of my own vineyard. So this is King David and Bathsheba's son. So when it said my mother's sons were angry with me, I concluded that King David and his ancestors were also black. Smiling, Neriglisar sighed. You say. He said as they continued, No, turn with me to Jeremiah 8 verse 20 one. For the hurt of the daughter of my people, am I hurt, I am black, astonishment hath taken hold on me. Neriglisar closet the Torah, was Jeremiah black as well? I remember reading how the Jews of Arabia were the honest that accompanied the Queen of Sheba and her son back from their visit to Israel. And many of the leaders and inhabitants of Ethiopia became Jewish and seized political domination of ancient Ethiopia, which was called Aksum back then. Many say that this was the religious center that contained the Ark of the Covenant brought from Jerusalem by the offspring of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, Menelik the First. Also according to Acts of the Apostles chapter 8, verses 26 through 40, an Ethiopian eunuch, a servant of Queen Candace of Ethiopia, was baptized soon after the resurrection. You say in early church records history books, Eusebius, a Roman historian, said that this man returned to Ethiopia, where he spread his faith. The king of Aksum soon embraced Christianity and declared it the state religion. So Ethiopia was the oldest Christian nation in the world. Meaning that Ethiopia was a Christian country long before Ireland and other parts of Europe. Ethiopia was closer to what Christianity was like before it became entangled with notions derived from the imperial ambitions of Rome. And check this out, Neriglisar said. Wanyenyekevu replied, Ok, im checking. Neriglisar could not stop smiling and laughing as he got excited talking to Wanyenyekevu. Queen Candace was no joke herself. She was Empress of Ethiopia when King Alexander was on his world-conquering rampage. Queen Candace was world famous as a military tactician and field commander. They say King Alexander could not entertain even the possibility of having his world fame destroyed by risking defeat, especially by a woman. He stopped his armies rigged at the borders of Ethiopia and did not invade, because he was met there by the waiting black troops with their queen in command. She arranged her armies strategically to meet him and was present on our elephant when he approached. Having assessed the strength of her troops, Alexander withdrew from Nubia and headed to Egypt instead. Another story claims that Alexander and Candace had a romantic encounter. The Romans met several queens of Mero, whom they thought were named Candace. They did not realize that Candace was simply the Meroite title meaning queen or mother of the throne prince. The Cushites gave special honor to their queens because they believed that the kings, who were sons of these women, were also sons of the great god, Amun. In other words, they imagined that these ladies were wives of the god and mothers of the living gods or the kings. If a king died, his wife might rule alone while her son was growing up. The people would worship her like a goddess. When the Romans went to war against Cush, Jay reported that the Cushite army was led by a Candace who was a massive, powerful woman, covered with jewels and elaborate robes and blind in one eye. Neriglisar was silent for a moment, as his mind rattled. Check this out. Did you know that when Jerusalem and Judea were left desolate, most people were either killed, held in captivity, or were refugees fleeing in different groups to remote lands as far as South Africa? All that remained in Israel was the defiant little garrison atop the mount at Masada, a fortress complex south of the Dead Sea built by Herod the Great. In the end, the entire Jewish nation was scattered throughout the earth. They called this the Second Exile or Edom Exile, even the Jewish leaders and elite were exiled, killed, or sold into slavery. They tried to make a comeback in 132 under Bar Kokhba, rebelling against Hadrian. But 2 years later, Hadrian's army defeated the Jewish armies, and Jewish independence was lost. As their punishment, Hadrian changed the name of Jerusalem to Aelia Capitolina, turned it into a pagan city, and banned the Jews from living there. Hadrian renamed Judea and Samaria to Syria Palestina. Check this out. Neriglisar said. Wanyenyekevu repli. Im still checking. Neriglisar said, im trying to make a connection here. Wanyenyekevu repli, go ahead, im listening, Neriglisar rubbed his beard, thinking, there were many, and many, great African nations, but there are at least 10 African kingdoms many don't know about. Well, I didn't know about. One was the Borneo, pointing to the war, Wanyenyekevu said, Bornu Empire. Neriglisar said, ok, the Bornu Empire, grew into the Kanem Empire, in northeastern Nigeria. At its height, it covered not only much of Chad, but also parts of southern Libya and eastern Niger, northeastern Nigeria, and northern Cameroon. Bite latia ya 11 Kenturi, this same kingdom became known as the Islamic Saifar. Pointing to the word, Wanyenyekevu said, Saifawa or Saifawa dynasty. Neriglisar said, Saifawa or Saifawa dynasty, which was founded by Humay or Humay ibn Salamna. The Saifawa dynasty ruled for 771 years, making it one of the longest-lasting dynasties in human history. Then there was the Sao civilization which flourished in Middle Africa, and the Sao lived by the Chari River south of Lake Chad in territory that later became a part of Cameroon and Chad. Sao were skilled workers in bronze, copper, and iron. Then there was the Shilluk Kingdom, the Baguirmi Kingdom, and the Wadai Empire, the Kingdom of Luba or the Luba Empire. In the Kingdom of Lunda and the Ajuran Empire, many of these tribes throughout Africa claimed Jewish ancestry. They observed Semitic traditions such as kosher-like dietary restrictions and slaughter practices, malediction, and strict rules against intermarriage. Many Semitic-sounding clan names were in Ghana, Nigeria, Mali, Uganda, Cameroon, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and even Sao Tome and other countries as well. One that Cuauhtemoc was an African tribe called the Lemba in South Africa. No peptis. Wanyenyekevu, lauging, im peping. Neriglisar was so engulfed in his words, and Wanyenyekevu saw his glow and was excited as Neriglisar continued, we already spoke about this, I just wanted to confirm what you said. Did you know that the end of the slave trade was not the end of slavery? Before Wanyenyekevu could answer, Neriglisar continued, but Wanyenyekevu was proud of how Neriglisar was rating and let him continue. No, Britain has been considered the great liberator of enslaved African people after becoming the first to abolish the slave trade in 1997 and pressuring other countries to follow suit. Truth be told, Britain was the biggest exporter of Africans during the 19th century. For 200 years, Portugal had a monopoly on the export of Africans for enslavement. They estimated that during the 450 years of the Atlantic slave trade, Portugal transported over 4.5 million African captives, about 40% of the total. During the 19th century, however, when the slave trade accounted for transporting 6 million Africans, Britain was the worst transgressor, responsible for the enslavement of almost 2.5 million people. Britain would continue the practice of slavery for another 26 years after abolishing the slave trade, which proved too costly thanks to slave rebellions. The United States also abolished the slave trade in 1997, but not slavery. Portugal followed suit in 1969, with its former colony Brazil abolishing it in 1989. The Mideast slave trade consisted of about 10.5 million deaths and a toll of the Atlantic slave trade at 16 million. That amounts to 34.5 million deaths of on a group of people. That does not include the deaths from the practice of slavery across the diaspora, which ended in Brazil around 1888, nor does it account for the centuries of colonialism across the continent. A scholar and historian named John Henrik Clarke plotted the toll of African lives lost during the slave trade or the African Holocaust at about 150 million. Nereglissar repeated himself in anger. 150 million he said all of that to cities, many slaves that were captured and spread all over the world, were from places that the Jewish community moved to after both exiles, and he believed if not all, most of them were the chosen people of Sabaoth. The 12 tribes of Israel. The original Jews. When Yenikevu shook his head, well said. Nereglissar having a funny look on his face, as he flipped through his tablet, he can't find the direct quote and not even sure if he said it or not, but he found articles and some documentaries that said that Adolf Hitler knew black Americans were truly the Jews of Israel. On an article has Hitler saying, because the white Jews know the Negroes are the natural children of Israel. And to keep America secret, the Jews would blackmail America. The Jews would extort America. Their world dominant plan wouldn't work if the Negroes knew who they were. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know that they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel all this time. They feared God will destroy them, as he destroyed Egypt for doing the same thing. So the Illuminati's elite keeps this a secret at all costs, but he found this in the Torah. Hold on. Plotting his tablet between his legs and flipping through the notice, in the back of his Torah, here it is, the book is, the Nazis, World War E by Robert Edwin Herstein. Pointing with his finger, as they guided across the tablet, reading, Hitler said, America has stolen the Jews. The Jews of God. His jewelry. The Negroes. They are the true Hebrews. What a foolish move and a direct challenge to God. And they plan on moving these false white Jews into the state of Israel. America is desperate in its attempt to win this war using atomic bombs on Japan. America will destroy the entire world in its attempt to conquer it now. Follow me to the Torah. Turn with me to Revelations 3 verse 9. Behold, he will make those of the synagogue of Satan, who says that they are Jews and are not. Nereglissar took a deep breath. He read about proud moments, sad moments in our history. Reading about people like Samuel Combs, Granville Taylor Woods, Elizabeth Jennings, the Chancellor Williams, Teresa Burroughs, Simone Biles. Thezot Sweet Riots, Central Park Tano, Philip Emeagwali, Arkansas, Elaine Massacre and the Clinton Kuminambili. When Yenikevu smiled at Nereglissar, what is a king without his kingdom? Just a man. But know this within your flesh you are a royalty, and because you are the child of Sabaoth the ultimate and supreme king, you possess royalty in the spirit. You are a twike blessed. Nereglissar smiled as a tear fell from his eyes. When Yenikevu said before walking away, you shall be my counselor, to all who have been knocked down, and can't seem to get up. Study all cultures and traditions of men to serve, as a beacon of light to those who seek the light in Sabaoth, but can't see the light within themselves. Just then as he was speaking, the people that left to find their families started returning. Everyone returned and spoke to Yenikevu. When we had no hope, you brought it to us. When we told there was no such thing as love, you showed it to us. It appears that you might need our help. You have been selfless, we should be selfish. We will go and help you as you have helped us, even with the power of Sabaoth, we are great, but as one, we are greater. Once all is well, we will find our loved ones. You have taught us what sense it makes for a finger, a toe, or even a hand to feed our, and leave the rest of the body behind. We will feed us on a body. Walk knows some of our family might be where you are going. When Yenikevu had tears in his eyes, Sabaoth is. Neriglisar interrupted, saying he was happy, and said, Sabaoth is able, when Yenikevu said. Yes, he is, but he was going to say Sabaoth is awesome.